I've watched families spend over a year finding the perfect DC neighborhood, then quit their jobs 6 months later because nobody warned them about the commuting. Choosing right or wrong here can cost you thousands every month and hours of your life in traffic. I've been in real estate for 15 years, and today I'm giving you what the usual relocation guys skip: real housing costs, neighborhoods that actually fit your lifestyle, how Metro limits your options, and the one transportation factor that changes everything. Amazon brought 8,000 jobs to Arlington. Merck committed billions of dollars to boost the region's biotech corridor. But here's what nobody tells you about DC's job market. Those millions of jobs are useless if you pick a neighborhood that turns your commute into a nightmare. Let me show you why people actually move here. Beyond the federal government, everyone assumes dominates everything. Here's the thing about Washington, D.C. It's not just the nation's capital, it's a metro region of 6.4 million people with opportunities you won't find anywhere else. The career opportunities are massive. The federal government remains the largest employer, but that's just the beginning. Early in 2025, the DC metro area had over 3.3 million jobs across the region. Amazon HQ2 in Arlington has already brought over 8,000 corporate and tech jobs to Met Park. Maryland's biotech corridor keeps expanding, and Merck just committed over $70 billion through 2029 to nationwide operations that impact this hub. Think about that. You got federal agencies, defense contractors, healthcare systems, law firms, nonprofits, and international organizations all competing for talent. Between the Arlington, Alexandria, and Reston division, and then the Washington, D.C. and Maryland division, you're looking at over 3 million jobs right there. If you're in biotech, the Maryland corridor is where you want to focus your search. Now, D.C. isn't just about work. The culture and lifestyle here are pretty wild. You get access to incredible museums and landmarks, most of them completely free. It's one of the things people don't realize until they're actually here. The food scene is no joke either. From high-end spots to international restaurants and big food halls, there's always something new to try. And if you like getting outside, you won't run out of options. Parks, trails, river activities, quick getaways is all within easy reach. But if you're wondering what day-to-day life actually looks like with all of this around you, stick with me. I'll show you exactly why people love living here a little later. Now, the central location matters too. Baltimore is 35 to 40 miles away. Philadelphia is 135 miles away. New York City is 225 miles away. You're right in the middle of the Mid-Atlantic corridor, which makes weekend trips super easy. This combination of career growth, culture, and location access creates momentum you can't replicate in most metro areas. Which brings us to understanding where exactly you'll land in this region. Quick note before we continue: if you're planning a move to the DC area, I help people sort out neighborhoods, commutes, and budgets all the time. Reach out using the info below and we'll go over your plan. Don't hesitate to reach out. Now, let's jump back in. Let me be completely honest. When clients tell me we're moving to DC, my first question is, which DC? Because the difference between DC proper, Arlington, and Bethesda isn't just geography, it's $400,000 price swings and completely different lifestyles. When people say they're moving to DC, they usually mean the entire metro region, the DMV. That's Washington, D.C., plus the surrounding suburbs in Maryland and Virginia. Let me break this down because each area has a different vibe and different price points. Washington, D.C. proper is urban, historic, and walkable. The housing stock is mostly apartments and row homes. You get strong metro access with 6 lines and 98 stations across the system. In DC, the average home sells for around $680,000. Northern Virginia has this mix of urban convenience and suburban space. Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, Downey counties all have their own character. The housing stock tends to be newer. You'll see high-rise developments, townhomes, and single-family homes. This area is the technology and defense contracting hub. Arlington and Alexandria land in totally different price brackets, and I'll break that down later. The key thing to know right now is why. Arlington's big leap is almost entirely about transit. The orange, silver, and blue lines give it a commute advantage most neighborhoods can't touch. Maryland suburbs give you diverse housing stock and strong local amenities. Both Montgomery County and Prince George's County have places close to the metro, and the prices are different depending on the neighborhood. Bethesda is one of the most popular areas. You get the blend of suburban town centers and quieter residential neighborhoods, all connected by the red line and green line. Understanding these street areas gives you a starting point. But the real decision comes down to specific neighborhoods that match how you actually want to live. Dupont Circle and Petworth are both at DC, both on metro lines, but one costs twice as much per square foot as the other. What makes them different is the lifestyle fit. Choosing the right neighborhood in the DMV isn't about picking the nicest area. It's about matching your lifestyle to the location. If you're a young professional who wants to walk to dinner and hit the bar scene without calling an Uber, Dupont Circle is an easy fit. You get historic row homes, tons of restaurants within a few blocks, and you are right on the red line. One-bedroom condos usually land in the mid-400s. Move a little east, and you hit Capitol Hill. It gives you the parks, local markets, and a mix of old and new homes. And you still have several metro lines running through the area. It feels a little quieter, but still connected. And keep this in the back of your mind. None of this makes sense until you see how transportation shapes where people can actually live. We'll get to that later. Now, each area has its own rhythm, its own price points, and its own lifestyle. Head north and the vibe changes again. Adams Morgan is the eclectic with late-night energy and a real neighborhood feel. But you won't have to direct metro stop, so you'll ride a bus from Woodley Park or take a walk. Down by the water, Navy Yard and the Capitol River waterfront give you the modern option. New buildings, waterfront parks, national parks right there, and an easy access to the Green Line. And if you want something with culture and history baked in, the U Street Corridor brings that. It's the former Black Broadway with lighter music venues up and down the block along the Green Lines. A bit farther over, Shaw gives you this trendier and often more affordable version of the same energy, with any boutiques and restaurants filling the streets. For parks and recreation access with strong local amenities, Bethesda and Maryland stands out. You get a walkable town center, recreation centers, and convenient red line access. Head south and the vibe shifts. Alexandria's historic waterfronts gives you that classic old town charm with quick access to downtown. Across the river, and Arlington gives you the modern version of the same idea with metro-heavy neighborhoods and close access to major job hubs. But your strategy changes entirely if you work at the Pentagon or need to be near federal offices. Foggy Bottom puts you close to federal buildings, George Washington University and the Kennedy Center. You get there with the blue, orange, and silver lines right there. If you hop over to Pentagon City, you get high-rise lit, built-in retail, and well, the Pentagon across the street. Now, if you want historic, high-end, and prestige living, Georgetown is the classic choice. It dates back to 1751. Architecture is gorgeous, the waterfront is incredible, but here's the catch. There's no metro station. Move out a bit, and the picture changes again. McLean in Virginia gives you larger lots in established neighborhoods with quick access to major job corridors. Jenny Chase in Maryland gives you a more suburban feel with plenty of shops and neighborhoods that feel settled and established. And if you're focused on value and future growth, Hyattsville in Maryland is picking up momentum fast. The Arts District is expanding. Development is active and you get green and yellow line access. Tacoma Park gives you a more eclectic feel with a wide mix of homes. And then you have places like Falls Church in Virginia, which has real long-term upside. And DC neighborhoods like Petworth and Mission Park, where you see the growth happening. And when you look at these areas side by side, you're starting to see how each one fits a different kind of lifestyle. Once those priorities click for you, the map of the metro area looks a lot clearer. And that clarity makes the next step even more interesting, because the way people move through the city shapes the whole picture. I've seen people fall in love with a great house and a great neighborhood, only to quit their job 6 months later because the commute wiped them out. Transportation isn't a small detail, it's everything. The metro covers the whole region with plenty of lines and 98 stations, so you can get around without depending on a car. Trains run early, run late, and give you longer hours on weekends, which makes everyday life a lot easier. Prices are higher during the busy times and cheaper at night and on the weekends. And if you ride a lot, a monthly pass keeps it simple. Now, here's the trade-off no way explains up front. Living near metros can add $100,000 to $200,000 to your home price, but it cuts 45 to 60 minutes from your daily commute. You're choosing between time and money, and most people don't realize they're making that choice until after closing. And it gets even trickier once schools enter the picture. DC plays by totally different rules than the suburbs. I'll show you what I mean later, but stay with me. Now here's the thing about DC traffic. This city ranks number 2 in the entire country for congestion, and the average commuter loses 70 hours a week just sitting still. While parking downtown costs $200 to $300 a month, that number alone can flip your whole housing budget. And don't get me started on the Beltway. The 495 at rush hour turns 14 miles into a 45-minute crawl. The 95 express lanes stretch over 50 miles with tolls that change by the minute. And if you got 3 people in the car or you're on a bus or motorcycle, you skip the tolls completely. Now wait until you hear this. DC has something called sled lines. It's basically a free carpool system where you stand at a marked spot, hop in with strangers, and everyone gets to use the HOV lanes. It has been running for over 50 years, and yes, people use it every day to get to places like Pentagon, LaFont Plaza, and Roslyn. Plus, plenty of people inside of the Beltway choose to live without a car. Capital Bike Share has hundreds of stations, and many barely use a car or don't own one at all. Some people even spend about $300 a month on Ubers and walking, and it still beats owning a car. A good commute isn't just about saving time, it completely changes which neighborhoods actually work for your daily life. And once you see how transportation shapes your options, the next question becomes simple: what can you actually afford? Arlington's being jumped about 21% in 1 year, while Bethesda dropped around 7%. Same metro area, same year, totally different outcomes. Across DC, the typical home is around $600,000 to $80,000. That's up 2.3% from last year. Price per square foot is sitting around $481, which is down slightly. Homes stayed on the market for about 2 months and usually get a couple of offers. Zoom out to the whole DMV and the trends keep climbing. The regional median is about $635,000, up from the year before. Sales should rise, and we'll see thousands more listings show up. Even with more homes coming to the market, homes only last 1 to 2 months before they're gone, so it stays competitive. Price ranges in DC break out pretty clean. Condos run from the mid-400s up to around $800,000. Row homes start around $700,000 and often land well above $1 million. Single-family homes typically begin in the 7-figure range. Arlington sits at the top with a median around $805,000, and some neighborhoods shooting well past $1 million. Alexandria lands in the middle, with most areas in the low to mid 700s and spots like Old Town climbing higher. Bethesda stays in the luxury range at about $1.1 million, even with a slight drop. Now, if you're planning to stay at least 3 years and building long-term value, buying usually makes sense. If you need flexibility or you're still figuring out neighborhoods, take your time before jumping in. And when you look at the neighborhoods with the biggest premiums, it keeps coming back to one thing families care about the most: the top school districts they're willing to pay hundreds of thousands more to access. Montgomery County Public Schools ranks number 2 in Maryland. Arlington Public Schools rank number 2 in Virginia. And honestly, that's exactly why you see families dropping an extra $400,000 just to get into those districts. If you have kids or plan to, the school situation matters. Let me walk you through how it works in each area. DC operates differently than most places. You've got an in-boundary school system plus a citywide lottery for out-of-boundary and charter programs. The big advantage here is universal free pre-K through the lottery. Both pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 are available. Trust me, if you've got young kids, that's a huge cost savings right there. And here's the thing about DC. Those pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 programs are pretty unique. The lottery system itself is also pretty unique. Not many places operate like this. The charter sector in DC is massive but specialized academic programs. Some are incredible, some aren't. You need to do your homework on which schools actually deliver. Maryland's Montgomery County and Prince George's County both run boundary-based systems. Pre-K availability varies and it's not universal like VC. But remember, Montgomery County is where you're paying top dollar for those number 2 ranked schools. Virginia's Fairfax, Arlington, and Alexandria all offer boundary-based public systems. Pre-K availability changes by district, so you'll want to check with what's available in your specific area before you commit. Now, if you're looking at higher education, the DC metro area is pretty stacked. There's a plethora of institutions: Georgetown, George Washington, American, University of Maryland, George Mason University, Howard University, Catholic, and the University of the District of Columbia, plus dozens more institutions across the region. Top-rated schools protect home values and shape neighborhood character. But here's what I tell every family: even the best school district doesn't matter if the monthly budget doesn't work. Let me show you what daily life actually costs you. A family of 4 in DC spends over $47,000 annually just on childcare. That's before housing, before transportation, before anything else. DC is one of those places where you can eat your way around the world without leaving the city. The metro area has 26 restaurants with Michelin stars, including 3 with the top rating. And it isn't just fine dining. You can find everything from Afghan to Venezuelan food, plus huge food halls like the Market and the Wharf that pull in crowds every weekend. And the culture here is something you can spend years exploring. You get free access to 17 Smithsonian museums. That's the National Air and Space Museum, the Natural History Museum, all of it completely free. You also get the National Gallery of Arts, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, all with no admission fees. But here's what makes DC special for a lot of people: the outdoor recreation access. Rock Creek Park alone covers over 1,700 acres with over 32 miles of hiking trails. It's been a national park since 1890. You got the Potomac River for kayaking and paddleboarding. The C&O Canal towpath stretch for miles. And within 2 hours, you can reach the Blue Ridge Mountains or head to Delaware and Maryland for beaches. Daily life feels just as cool. You guys shopping downtown and in the suburbs, plus grocery stores and a ton of specialty markets. Now, let me be honest, the cost of living adds up fast. A single person usually spends $2,000 to $3,000 on housing, plus the monthly bills. A couple hundred for utilities, about $75 for internet, groceries that land around $600, and metro costs that change depending on how much you ride. And if you need parking, that could easily add another $200 to $300. And when you total everything, most singles end up between $4,300 and $4,700 each month. Families feel it even more. Housing jumps to $3,500 to $5,000. Groceries sit at over $1,200, and childcare is the big one, $2,000 to $4,000 a month. If you have an infant and a toddler, you're paying close to $4,000 monthly just for care. Transportation adds a little more, usually around $100 to $300 a month. When you stack it all up, family of 4 often spends $8,500 to $9,500 each month. So when you look at the bigger picture, a single person might spend around $92,000 a year to live here. A family of 4 is looking at $102 to $114,000 or more. When you add all of this up, you get a clear picture of what daily life really costs here. And once you understand those numbers, it becomes a lot easier to figure out what kind of move actually makes sense for you. So let's talk about how to approach that decision the right way. Look, I just gave you a ton of information. Neighborhoods, transportation, housing costs, schools, daily expenses. It's a lot to process. Here's what I recommend if you're seriously considering a move to DC. First, right before you buy, spend at least 6 months to a year getting to know the area. What looks good on paper might not feel right when you're actually living here. Trust me, I've seen too many people rush into buying and regret their neighborhood choice 6 months later. Second, visit in person before you commit to anything. Walk the neighborhoods, ride the metro during rush hour, drive the commute you'd actually be doing. Experience it firsthand because videos and research only tell you so much. Third, give yourself time to explore. DC has dozens of distinct neighborhoods, and each one has a completely different vibe. You might think you want Adams Morgan and then realize Petworth is actually your spot. Or you assume Arlington is perfect and then fall in love with Silver Spring. You won't know until you're here. Now, if you want the full detailed breakdown with timelines, checklists, and step-by-step guidance, I've put together a complete DC relocation guide. It covers everything from school enrollment deadlines to DMV registration to setting up utilities. It's linked in the description below. The DC metro area is growing fast. The opportunity here is real, but it's not a decision to make lightly. You need to know exactly what you're walking into. If you're ready to talk through your specific move, your budget, your commute priorities, which neighborhoods actually match how you live, shoot me an email at hello@coalitionpg.com today. Now, the video I've linked here breaks down the #1 mistake people make after moving to DC. I will show you exactly how to avoid that trap. Check it out and see you next time.